The jungle air was thick and hot as Commander Olivia Wright wiped sweat from her forehead. She looked through her binoculars at the strange new world around her. Green and purple plants grew tall, reaching for 3 suns in the sky. "See anything new?" asked Joe Collins as he walked up behind her. His boots made soft sounds on the dirt path. Joe had once been in the Navy, but now studied animals on new planets. "Not yet," said Olivia, but the sensors picked up large life forms nearby. The Celestial Explorer, their ship, sat in a clearing half a mile back. 20 people from Earth had come to study this planet. They had found many new plants and small animals, but nothing that could think like humans, at least not until today. "Commander," Lisa Morgan's voice came through the radio. "You need to come see this." Olivia and Joe hurried through the jungle to where Lisa waited. She pointed to something moving in the shadows. "It's been watching us for an hour," Lisa whispered. Olivia saw it then. A large animal with 6 legs and yellow eyes. It looked somewhat like a cat, but had scales instead of fur. It was as big as a horse. "Is it dangerous?" Joe asked, reaching slowly for his stun gun. "I don't think it wants to hurt us," Lisa said. "Look at its eyes." The creature's eyes didn't show hunger or anger. They showed curiosity. It tilted its head, studying the humans as they studied it. Olivia made a slow, gentle movement with her hand. To her surprise, the creature made a similar movement back. "It's copying you," Joe said quietly. "That shows intelligence." Over the next 3 hours, more of these creatures came. They kept their distance but watched the humans with clear interest. The humans counted 12 in total, all with the same scaled bodies and 6 legs. One was larger than the others, with deep scars across its back. "I think that's their leader," Lisa said, pointing to the scared one. Frank Patterson, the team's engineer, worked quickly on a small device. "This might help us talk to them," he said. "It can translate basic sounds and show simple pictures." As the day went on, the humans tried making different sounds and movements. The creatures sometimes copied them. When Olivia drew a picture of their ship in the dirt, the largest creature came forward and looked at it. Then it used its front claw to draw something too. A circle with lines coming out, like a simple sun. "They can communicate," Olivia said, her voice full of wonder. "We're looking at a new thinking species." In her log that night, Olivia wrote, "Day 37 on planet XG2. Today we made first contact with an intelligent species. We're calling them the Krilzar, after the sound they make. Tomorrow, we try to learn more about these fascinating creatures." A week passed since the humans first met the Krilzar. Each day, the creatures came closer to the camp. The humans left food at the edge of their clearing. By morning, the food was always gone. Joe Collins woke up early and took his notebook to a small hill where he could watch the jungle. The morning mist made everything look blue and strange. He sat quietly, waiting. 3 hours later, he saw movement. A young Krilzar, smaller than the others, stepped out from the trees. It sniffed at the air and moved toward the pile of fruit the humans had left. Suddenly, a loud crash came from the bushes. A different animal burst out. This one was snake-like but had 4 short legs and a mouth full of sharp teeth. Joe had seen these before. The crew called them snappers because of their strong jaws. The snapper lunged at the young Krilzar. The little creature tried to run but tripped on a root. Without thinking, Joe jumped up and ran down the hill. He grabbed his stun gun and fired at the snapper. The electric pulse hit the predator, making it fall to the ground, temporarily frozen. The young Krilzar looked at Joe with wide yellow eyes. It made a chirping sound, then backed away slowly. From the trees, a loud roar shook the air. The large Krilzar with scars on its back jumped into the clearing. Scarback, as the humans called it, stood between Joe and the young one. Joe put down his gun and kneeled. He kept his head low, trying to show he meant no harm. Scarback sniffed the air, then looked at the stunned snapper. The big creature made a rumbling noise in its throat. The young Krilzar chirped again, and moved closer to the adult. Slowly, Scarback moved toward Joe. It stopped just 5 feet away, closer than any Krulzar had come before. Joe held his breath. The creature leaned down and made a gentle sound, then backed away, taking the young one with it. That afternoon, Lisa Morgan was excited when Joe told his story. "You saved one of their young," she said. "That's why Scarback came so close to you." By evening, something amazing happened. 5 Krulzar came to the edge of the camp. Scarback was with them. They'd brought a dead animal, similar to a deer, and left it near the humans' food station. "It's a gift," Lisa said. "They're thanking you." The next morning, Commander Olivia Wright found Joe watching the Krulzar from a new, closer observation post they had built. "They have families," Joe said. "Look how they protect their young. I think they're beginning to trust us." Olivia nodded. "Keep building that trust. It's the key to understanding them." In the trees, Scarback watched the humans with new interest. Something had changed between their kinds. 2 weeks had passed since Joe saved the young Krulzar. Now the creatures came to the edge of the camp every day. The humans could get close enough to study them properly. Lisa Morgan sat near a group of female Krulzar. They allowed her to watch their young ones play. She took notes on her tablet about their behavior. "They have strong family groups," she told Olivia later. "The mothers work together to watch all the young ones." Frank Patterson rushed into the command tent where Olivia was reviewing reports. His face looked worried. "Commander, our weather sensors are picking up something big," he said, showing her his screen. "Massive storms forming over the ocean. They'll hit us in about 5 days." Olivia frowned. "How bad?" "Worse than anything we've seen here. High winds, electrical activity, and the rain shows toxic elements. We need to get everyone inside the ship." That evening, Olivia noticed the Krulzar were acting strangely. They seemed nervous, looking at the sky often. Scarback paced back and forth at the edge of the jungle. "They know something's coming," Joe said. Frank had been working on the translation device. It was still basic, but it could help them understand simple ideas. He brought it to the edge of the clearing where Scarback waited. Frank turned on the device and spoke into it. "Storm coming." The machine made odd noises. Scarback's ears perked up. The large creature made sounds back. The device translated. "Big death. Sky anger. Many young die." Frank looked at Olivia. "They know about the storms. It sounds like they're deadly to them." Over the next 2 days, the humans watched as the Krulzar began moving deeper into the jungle. Through the translation device, they learned that the predators had caves where they sheltered during storms, but many of those caves flooded or collapsed in the worst weather. "From what I can understand," Lisa said, "these storms come every 15 years, and each time, many of their young don't survive." Frank studied the map of the area. "Their caves won't be enough. Not for a storm this size." That night, he called the team together. "I've been thinking. We could modify our ship shields to cover more area, maybe protect some of their caves." "Can you do it in time?" Olivia asked. "With help, yes," Frank said. "But we'd need to choose which areas to protect. We can't shield everything." As they talked, the sky in the distance flickered with lightning. The air felt heavy and strange. "We need to decide fast," Joe said, looking toward the horizon where dark clouds were gathering. "That storm is coming, and it's going to be bad." The morning sky turned an angry purple as the storm grew closer. Wind bent the tall jungle trees. Frank and his assistant Kelly Porter worked without rest to extend the ship's shields. "We can cover the ship in about half a mile around it," Frank told Olivia, "and maybe 1 or 2 of the larger caves where the Krulzar stay." Olivia looked at the map. "That won't be enough to protect all of them." As they spoke, a group of Krulzar appeared at the edge of the camp. Scarback was in front, along with 5 other large adults. Behind them stood several smaller Krulzar with about 20 young ones. Joe and Lisa approached with the translation device. Scarback made a series of growls and clicks. The device translated, "Death comes from sky. Young ones in danger." Joe nodded. "We know. We're trying to help." The large predator stepped closer. The device picked up more sounds. "You have strong cave. Sky death cannot touch." "That's right," Lisa said. "Our ship is safe from the storm." What happened next shocked everyone. Scarback turned and made a motion toward the young Krulzar. Two adult females nudged the little ones forward toward the humans. The device translated Scarback's next sounds. "Take young ones. Keep in your strong cave. Return when sky death passes." Silence fell over the humans. Lisa's eyes widened. "They want us to take their children into our ship," she whispered, "to protect them from the storm." Sam Gordon, the team's medic, shook his head in disbelief. "These are apex predators. They're asking aliens, us, to look after their offspring." Lisa nodded slowly. "In nature, predators almost never trust other species with their young. This is unprecedented." Olivia stepped forward. This was a huge decision. If something went wrong, if any of the young ones died in their care, the trust between humans and Krulzar would be broken forever. "How many young ones?" she asked through the device. Scarback made more sounds. The translation came. 37 young. All that remain of 3 family groups. Joe looked at Olivia. "Commander, we have to help them." Olivia thought for a moment, then nodded. "Tell them we will protect their young ones, but we need to know what they eat, how to care for them." As Joe relayed the message, the tension in the Krulzar's bodies visibly eased. One of the females came forward and placed her young one directly at Lisa's feet. Lisa carefully reached down. The baby Krulzar sniffed her hand, then made a small chirping sound. "I think," Lisa said quietly, "we just became babysitters for an alien species." The main research room of the Celestial Explorer was quickly changed into a nursery for the Krulzar young. The crew moved tables and equipment to make space. They'd brought in soft materials for bedding and set up heating lamps because the young ones needed warmth. Sam Gordon studied the eating habits of the little creatures. "They need meat, but it has to be fresh," he told Olivia. "And they drink water with minerals in it." The crew had only 2 days to prepare before the storm hit. Outside, the adult Krulzar brought more young ones to the ship. By the end of the day, all 37 baby Krulzar were inside the human ship. Frank and Kelly didn't stop working on the shields. They placed small shield generators near 3 of the largest caves where most adult Krulzar would shelter. "Will the shields hold?" Olivia asked. Frank wiped sweat from his face. "I hope so, but the storm looks worse than we thought. These generators weren't made for this kind of weather." The sky grew darker each hour. Lightning flashed more often. The wind bent trees sideways. Inside the ship, Lisa Morgan sat surrounded by young Krulzar. They were scared of the strange place, but slowly began to trust her. She taught them a simple game with colored balls, and the smart little creatures learned quickly. "They understand so much," she told Joe. "I think they know exactly why they're here." Outside, the adult Krulzar gathered near the ship. It was time for them to go to their caves. Scarback and the others made a strange, singing sound that the humans had never heard before. "It's some kind of ceremony," Lisa said. "I think they're saying goodbye to their young." Through the translation device, Scarback spoke to Olivia. "We trust humans. Young ones are our future. Keep them safe." Olivia nodded. "We will protect them with our lives." The adult Krulzar turned and moved into the jungle, heading for their caves. The last they saw of Scarback was his scared back disappearing into the trees. Sam checked each young Krulzar one more time. "They seem healthy, but I've never treated aliens before. If any get sick, I'll do my best." Joe looked at the little ones playing or sleeping in their new home. "It's a huge responsibility," he said quietly. The first heavy raindrops hit the ship with loud pings. A flash of lightning lit up the room. The young Krulzar made scared sounds and huddled together. "It's starting," Frank said from the control room. "Everyone to your stations. The storm is here." The storm hit with terrible force. Rain fell so hard it sounded like rocks hitting the ship. Lightning struck every few seconds, making the sky look like day even though it was night. Inside the Celestial Explorer, the young Krulzar cried out with each thunder crash. Joe and Lisa stayed in the nursery room, trying to keep them calm. "It's okay, little ones," Lisa said, even though she knew they couldn't understand her words. Her calm voice seemed to help anyway. Joe played recordings of adult Krulzar sounds they had collected. This helped the young ones settle down. In the control room, Olivia and Frank watched the shield monitors. The main shield around the ship was holding strong, but the smaller shields over the caves were struggling. "Shield 3 is failing," Frank said, pointing to a flashing red light. "That's the eastern cave." Olivia looked worried. "How many adult Krulzar are in that cave?" "At least 15, Frank said. He hit some buttons, trying to boost the power. "It's not working. Someone needs to go reset the generator." "In this storm?" Olivia asked. "It's too dangerous." Frank grabbed a protective suit from a locker. "We promised to help them. I'm going." Before Olivia could stop him, Frank ran to the ship's door. Kelly followed him with another suit. "I'm coming too," she said. "You'll need help." They stepped outside into the storm. The wind nearly knocked them down. The rain burned through their suits in seconds. This rain was toxic. It had chemicals in it that hurt skin. Frank and Kelly fought their way through the wind to the generator near the eastern cave. Frank's hands shook as he worked to fix it. His suit was failing, and the rain touched his skin, burning him. Inside the ship, Sam rushed into the nursery. "One of the young ones isn't breathing right," he said. He picked up a small Krulzar whose scales had turned a pale color. Sam took the sick youngster to his medical room. He had to guess how to treat it. He had never done surgery on an alien before, but he had no choice. Outside, Frank finally got the shield working again. He and Kelly struggled back to the ship. When they got inside, both had burns on their skin from the toxic rain. Sam would have to treat them after he finished with the young Krulzar. From the windows, the crew watched in horror as part of a hillside collapsed. It buried the entrance to one of the caves they couldn't shield. "Those poor Krulzar," Joe said softly. Lisa put her arm around him. "We're doing everything we can." The ship shook as a lightning bolt hit nearby. In the nursery, the young Krulzar huddled together, scared but safe, while outside their parents faced the full fury of the deadly storm. 3 days passed before the storm finally ended. The sky cleared to show a changed world. Trees were broken or gone. The ground was covered in a strange blue mud from the toxic rain. Commander Olivia Wright stood at the ship's door, looking out at the destruction. "It's safe to go outside now," she told her team. "The air readings are back to normal." Sam had good news. The sick young Krulzar was now healthy again. All 37 of the young ones had survived the storm. Frank and Kelly were recovering from their burns too. Joe and Lisa prepared to take the young Krulzar outside. They wondered how many adult Krulzar had lived through the storm. "I hope Scarback made it," Joe said. They didn't have to wait long to find out. As they stepped outside with the first few young ones, movement came from the edge of the broken jungle. Adult Krulzar appeared, moving slowly, some with injuries. They looked tired and hungry, but they were alive. Scarback limped into the clearing. When he saw the young ones, he made a sound that needed no translation. It was pure joy. The young Krulzar ran to the adults. There were happy sounds as families found each other again. Lisa stood with tears in her eyes. "They've never had this before," she said. "In past storms, many young ones died. But this time, all of them lived." While the Krulzar reunited, Lisa worked with the translation device. She had made progress understanding their language during the long days inside. Now she could understand more of what they were saying. "Olivia, come here," she called excitedly. I just learned something amazing. Olivia joined her as Lisa pointed to the device. Listen to this part. I think the Krulzar have stories about people like us. The device showed the translation of what Scarback was telling the others. Old stories true. Star Guardians came, protected young ones from Deathstorm. Lisa looked at Olivia with wide eyes. They have legends about beings from the stars who would someday come to save their young during the death storms. They think we fulfilled their ancient prophecy. More adult Krulzar arrived at the camp. They brought food for the humans, a sign of thanks. One female placed her front paw gently on Joe's arm, then nudged her young one toward him as if to show the little one who had helped save them. Sam checked the surviving adults. About 70% made it through the storm, he told Olivia. That's more than ever before, thanks to our shields. Olivia watched as humans and Krulzar moved among each other, no longer afraid. We've done something incredible here, she said. Something that will change how we think about alien species forever. 6 months passed since the deadly storm. The research outpost had become permanent. The Celestial Explorer remained, but the crew had built small homes nearby. They were no longer just visitors. They were part of this world now. Joe Collins sat on a bench outside his cabin. 3 young Krulzar played nearby. They had grown bigger and stronger, but still came to visit the humans every day. Lisa Morgan approached with good news. Earth just sent a message. They're sending another ship with more scientists. Joe nodded. They want to learn more about our friends, I bet. Yes, but it's more than that, Lisa said, sitting next to him. What's happened here is completely new. No human team has ever been trusted this way by predator species. It wasn't just the Krulzar anymore. Word had somehow spread through the jungle. 2 other predator species had approached the human camp in recent weeks. One was a bird-like creature with 4 wings and sharp teeth. The other looked like a mix between a wolf and a lizard. Both were dangerous hunters, but both had brought their young ones to show the humans. They're not afraid of us, Olivia had said when the first new species arrived. Somehow they know we helped the Krulzar young survive. Frank and Kelly had finished building a school of sorts, where they studied the different young aliens. The predator babies learned to play together, something that never happened in the wild. Sam Gordon had created medical treatments that worked for all 3 species. He was writing a book about alien medicine. In the distance, Scarback watched from a hill. The large predator no longer needed to stay close. The trust between their kinds was strong now, but he still came every few days to check on things. A new sound made Joe look up. One of the bird creatures landed nearby with 2 babies. It made a clicking noise and gently pushed them toward Joe, then flew away. Babysitting time again, Joe said with a smile. The little ones climbed onto his lap and made happy sounds. Commander Olivia Wright walked by and saw the scene. A human surrounded by young from 3 different predator species, all sleeping peacefully as he kept watch. She took out her recorder and spoke into it. Log entry 247. Today we learned why even predators trust humans with their offspring. Not because we are stronger or more fearsome, but because they recognize in us a universal truth that the protection of the young transcends species barriers and may be the one language all thinking beings ultimately share. In the trees, Scarback made a rumbling sound of approval. The future would be different now for both humans and the creatures of this world. Together, they would build something new.